Warning. Warning. You are entering a territory far from your safe space. You must turn back now, or you will become informed. Go. Now.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude about it, but this is rude to me and my family and the ones that are hurting.
And New at Noon, Raleigh police say they have a second person in custody accused of shooting a man in broad daylight. It's scary.
We think that this group was using a snow shoveling ruse to try to get to the house.
Hey, Bob, yeah, imagine somebody pulling a knife on you and demanding your car.
You can replace a car, but you can't replace a driver.
She did nothing to save my child. As you spoke yourself, she walked back and forth and said, there's a freaking baby under your car. That is my baby.
And people have died.
Columbia police need your help finding a woman they say is wanted for indecent exposure.
We see a third subject walk up and try to pry the door open. He's working on the door. He's got some kind of pry tool. He's trying to pop the front door open.
New surveillance video tonight showing a woman attacking a store employee with pepper spray during a shoplifting incident.
Damn!
Now YouTube censored. Now YouTube censored.
I'm mad as hell right now. Yes, I am.
Viewer discretion is advised. Mama Black.
This program contains language and sequences some viewers may find disturbing.
A woman convicted of crashing into a home, killing a mother, and leaving her child severely burned will be released from prison nearly 4 years early. Calfee's Brandon Simmons joins us now to explain the judge's decision. Brandon, good evening to you.
Hi, Russ. The MyCup family desperately pleaded for a judge not to reduce the sentence of 26-year-old Adriana Young. In the end, things didn't go their way.
I can't believe that 6 months that it would actually be on the table for early release.
James MyCup pleaded to the courts to keep the woman responsible for his wife's death and injuring his son behind bars for the length of her 4.5-year sentence.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude about it, but this is rude to me and my family and the ones that are hurting.
It was back in July of 2015 when Adriana Young lost control of her car and crashed into the MyCup home, where Deborah MyCup was sitting in the living room with her son Jackson. The crash killed Deborah and severely burned Jackson, who was trapped underneath the car.
She did nothing to save my child. As you spoke yourself, she walked back and forth and said, there's a freaking baby under your car. That is my baby.
Despite his pleas and hundreds of letters from the public, Judge James Maraldi agreed to release Young, who exhibited good behavior while incarcerated.
I promised the defendant that if she had no serious infractions in prison per the warden's report, I would release her after 6 months.
The judge said Young was not proven to be under the influence at the time of the crash and had a valid license and insurance, which paid the victim's family a 6-figure sum in civil court.
Defendant's crime stole the MyCup home because Debbie was their home.
While the MyCup family and the prosecution agrees nothing could bring Debbie back, they still wanted much more from the justice system. Now, Young's license has been revoked, and definitely also she'll be under court supervision when she is released. If she violates any of those terms, including drug tests, she could be sent back to prison to serve out the rest of her sentence.
And New at Noon, Raleigh police say they have a second person in custody accused of shooting a man in broad daylight. Police say 27-year-old Darnell Dotson is facing several charges in connection to the robbery and shooting that seriously injured Carlos Todd. The shooting happened on Waketown Drive December 17th. Angelo Moody is also facing charges for that.
On alert after several men posing as snow shovelers tried to break into homes. Now that series of attempted burglaries in Norridge have residents on edge. NBC5's Sabrina Santucci has the latest.
Norridge police investigate a series of burglaries taking place Tuesday night. You can see in this home surveillance video a man in his late teens to early 20s walk up to a house. The suspect in a hoodie and black puffy coat rings the doorbell and even looks up at the camera. More footage reveals one of the suspects picking up a planter base and smashing it through a storm window.
You see a third subject walk up and try to pry the door open. He's working on the door. He's got some kind of pry tool. He's trying to pop the front door open.
The burglaries taking place in the 8200 block of Strong, 4900 block of Ozark, and 5100 block of Canfield between the hours of 7 and 9 p.m. The 3 young men sped off in a black car. Chicago police have since located that vehicle.
We think that this group was using a snow shoveling ruse to try to get to the house. If somebody answered the door, they were going to say they were here to shovel snow and then leave.
Also on Tuesday, January 2nd, police were sent to Cumberland and Lawrence Avenues after they received a call of shots fired. Norwich police say the shooting was unrelated to the burglaries. Detectives have not caught any of the suspects involved.
Anybody that comes up to the house, if you don't have anybody coming to the house, call the police.
Police advise installing a video surveillance system and, most importantly, taking note of anything suspicious. Reporting from Norwich, Sabrina Santucci, NBC 5 News.
Police need your help finding a woman they say is wanted for indecent exposure. Officers say the incident happened last Saturday. Police say a woman walked into the Enterprise on Greystone Boulevard and started talking to an employee, and that's when things took a turn. According to the report, that woman walked behind the counter, pulled down her pants, and started shaking her exposed rear end to the clerk while saying, "You know you want me." The woman then left the area. This is a crazy story. If you know anything, call 1-888-CRIME.
All new tonight, Columbia police have arrested this woman who's accused of exposing herself at a local car rental business. The story's generated some interest online. 32-year-old Kenesha Ann Shawnee Wall was arrested in connection to that incident. Police say that she walked into the Enterprise Rent-A-Car on Greystone Boulevard last Saturday and tried to entice an employee. That's when investigators say things took a little bit of a turn. An incident report says that Wall walked behind the counter. She pulled down her pants and showed her backside. She began to shake her backside. She then left the store, not before exposing herself again. Can't make this stuff up, folks. I'm sorry. I tell you what, if you want to read more about that full story, you want to get to the bottom of it, go on the WIS news.
Hey, Bob, yeah, imagine somebody pulling a knife on you and demanding your car. That moment's also surreal. But when it happened to this cab driver out here, he thought quickly on his feet, got out of that car, but not before doing something else first. The call came into Yellow Cab dispatchers around midnight Wednesday.
Yellow Cab. Hi, can we get a cab to 1500 South and State? Okay, so what? McDonald's? Okay.
Little did the cab driver know his car would end up looking like this about 20 minutes later.
It's scary. I mean, there's no tires on three sides. There's dents. They did have to spike the tires. You can replace a car, but you can't replace a driver.
And luckily, Leslie Smith Brooks in Yellow Cab won't have to. Police say this man, Kent Jordan Robert Faith, had a female friend with him when he used a knife to demand the cab from the driver. But they didn't see the driver reach for this.
He used his training. He hit that button.
And once those cab drivers hit those red buttons, they got 60 seconds to cancel it. Otherwise, a red dot will pop up here on the screen so operators know there's an issue.
It shows red around them and beeps, and from that point on, the operations people know that, oh, there's something going on.
Right away, Yellow Cab dispatchers called police, and using the cab's GPS, officers found the taxi just minutes later, sparking this police chase that would wind through the streets of Salt Lake and Mill Creek before ending back in Salt Lake around 6th East and 4th South. Yeah, that Yellow Cab driver wanted to say thank you to police tonight. Charges are still expected. That suspect is still in custody. And as for this Yellow Cab driver, this guy's a machine. Didn't even take the night off. Got held up there with that knife point earlier this morning. He's back to work again tonight. In Salt Lake City, Jeff McAdam, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now in Crime Watch 8 tonight, new surveillance video tonight showing a woman attacking a store employee with pepper spray during a shoplifting incident.
And now police are asking for your help to identify that woman and two others. 24-hour News 8's Wynn has more from the Greenwood Mall.
Phillinbrook police say those women got away with a bunch of clothes from JCPenney. A store employee caught them stealing, so she confronted them. And that's when one of the suspects attacked her with the pepper spray. Surveillance video from December 20th shows three women walking into this JCPenney store at the Greenwood Mall. A store employee told police she got off the elevator and saw them putting clothes into a black bag. One of them began walking towards the exit, and that's when the alarm goes off.
As a loss prevention officer approached the first two who had concealed the merchandise, the third one came up and sprayed her in the face with some kind of chemical mace.
In the video, you can see the 66-year-old store employee coughing. Another man tries to stop them, but he too is overcome by the spray. The whole thing lasted for a couple of seconds.
We don't know at this time if it's the same suspect, but we had a similar incident at a different store at the mall about.
That incident happened at Von Mar on December 4th. A loss prevention officer was trying to restrain one of the two female suspects when she was hit with the pepper spray.
It's not something that a lot of your shoplifters are willing to get those extra charges for.
Police say using pepper spray can be dangerous and in rare cases deadly.
There are documented cases, mostly through police departments in the past, where people have had allergic reactions to them, anaphylactic shock, and people have died from being exposed to chemical mace.
Detectives are still trying to figure out if there's a connection between the two cases, but if you recognize any of the suspects, you're asked to call Greenwood Police.
Someone knows who they are, and I'm sure these three suspects talked about with their friends what they did, so.
Witnesses were able to provide police with a description and the license plate number of the getaway car in both cases. Reporting in Greenwood, V-WIN 24-Hour News 8.
And as always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Also follow us on the usual media for more interesting information like this.
Fight their asses.